Join the Hogwarts Dueling Club to learn how to cast spells and hexes and use items to stun your opponents in defense against the dark arts. Welcome to Tantrum House Studio D. I'm Melissa Delp.
And I'm Kevin Delp. A couple years ago, the Up published Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, a co-op deck building game.
Well, now they've published a new standalone game, Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle Defense Against the Dark Arts. This is a two-player competitive deck building game.
And they sent us this copy to review.
At the beginning of the game, each player chooses a house. You can choose the same house since the cards are double-sided. Each player gets a starting deck of cards that include 7 Alohomora cards, 1 wand, 1 cauldron, and 1 ally of your choice, a cat, toad, or owl. You'll shuffle them and draw 5.
In the center of the table, you place the practice mat and place your house standees in the start places. You'll also place out the decks of hex cards, book cards, and Hogwarts cards with 4 face-up.
Your goal is to stun your opponent by dealing enough damage to knock them back to the edge of the practice mat. The first person to stun their opponent 3 times wins.
Now, if you've played the cooperative Hogwarts battle, you'll notice that a lot of the terminology and symbols will be familiar. On your turn, you play the 5 cards in your hand. There are 3 main resources: lightning bolts that push your opponent back, hearts that heal you. Basically, you can move up a space on the track if you've been pushed back, but you can't go past your starting spot. And there are coins that allow you to buy new cards.
There are a lot of Hogwarts cards in the deck, like items, spells, allies, ranging in value from 2 coins all the way to 9.
At the end of your turn, you have to discard any tokens you didn't use in all your cards from your hand and in play, except for ally cards. These stay in play in front of you from turn to turn.
Many of the cards in the Hogwarts deck have a secondary effect based on the ally cards that are in front of you and the house that you're in. And these are in addition to your regular effect.
So if I play the Stupefy card and have this Gryffindor ally, then I'll also gain 2 lightning. And if I'm in Ravenclaw and play the Crystal Ball, then I'll also gain 2 coins.
Hexes are another new type of card. When the other player hexes you, you'll add a hex card either to your hand or discard pile. When it's in your hand, you have to resolve it immediately, and it's going to be bad. It might affect your ally cards, cancel the rewards of some of your cards, or prevent you from playing certain cards. The good news is there are cards in the deck that help you get rid of hexes.
Players continue taking turns until someone forces their opponent to that stun space, and then both players will shuffle all their cards, including their allies, and then they'll start a new round.
So the first player to stun their opponent 3 times wins. Now the game says it takes about 30 minutes to 60 minutes, and that range is dependent on 2 main things. First, how many rounds do you go? Do you finish someone off in 3 rounds, or does it take a full 5? Also, it's determined by the composition of your deck. If you don't have a lot of lightning bolts and the other player has a lot of hearts, it could take a long time to whittle the other player down and push them to the edge.
I like that the game starts a little bit differently, not only for the 2 players, but also from game to game based on what house you choose and what ally you start the game with.
The 3 allies are Owl, which lets you save coins, the Cat, which helps you gain lightning, and the Toad, which helps you heal.
There was one game where I won pretty handily the first 2 rounds because I had the cat ally that was getting me extra lightning to hit you, but while those rounds were going, you were gaining some pretty powerful cards.
Right, I had the owl, so I was able to bank some money to get to those higher value cards, and I won the next 3 rounds because I was able to hit Kevin for about 4 or 5 lightning each turn. Some of the cards get more powerful as the game progresses, like gaining lightning for each ally you have in play, or more hearts for your allies. And some cards are just plain powerful, like gaining 2 lightning and giving your opponent a hex.
I think the game does a good job with the dueling theme, with throwing spells at each other and moving back and forth on that practice mat.
And it has a Harry Potter theme, which I personally always enjoy. You'll recognize many of the famous characters like Luna, Mad-Eye, Gilderoy Lockhart, and of course Harry Potter. The different spells and items will look familiar too, from the books and the movies.
Much of the game has a similar style to the other Harry Potter games from the OP, from the art to the tokens used, and even the metal tokens, although they're bronze instead of the silver color in the other games. I really like the box with the sleeve, and the components fit well in the insert.
Kevin and I don't actually play a lot of two-player games. Most of what we play is multiplayer, Euros, but I did really enjoy this one. I think a lot of it does come down to the Harry Potter theme. The game can be a little swingy with which cards come out in the classroom. You know, you could get stuck if there's a lot of high value cards and you have trouble getting to that coin count for the 7 and 8 value cards. So if you want something a little bit more strategic, you may want to house rule a way to cycle through those classroom cards so the same ones don't sit there for a long time. There's also the issue of the deck being really large. So if you're banking on getting certain allies or cards that align with a house, there might not be an equal distribution. So even if I'm Ravenclaw, I might not see a lot of those cards come out during the game. But I think it does work as a casual game, a family game, especially if you like the Harry Potter theme.
I like this game for what it is as a two-player game. I just wonder if there would be a way to make it 3 or 4 players, like maybe make it the number of hits that you hit an opponent, then you could win a round or something like that. But I think it works really well as a two-player because the theme with the dueling club. But if this sounds like something you would enjoy, then check out Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle Defense Against the Dark Arts, and we would love for you to subscribe to Tantrum House.